Alright guys, it's Scrim here, and I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Lots of important Scrim bucks going down last night. OpTic playing the Bush Gaming boys, and also some search and destroy was noted. Pretty rare to see that happen on stream, but it was certainly the case yesterday, and some big results going OpTic's way going into this upcoming weekend of matches. But also Octane with a few thoughts on the new LA Thieves substitute in Neum, saying that Kenny's got nothing to worry about if Neum keeps playing like this. From us and true to your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Some remarkable clips coming out of this bot bash tournament as well last night. This is one here from Sib with the sniper. You know, don't show this to the boys that want to GA it, because here he is just hitting an absolute slam wall bang through the wall. Pretty outrageous. And well, we'll get a little replay of that as well here on the Den, when he just jumps off the top window, slams the no scope. That's why he used to be on FaZe a couple of years ago. The other update actually with OpTic is this, and this is pretty actually remarkable, given that Hex the other day was talking about the fact that the Activision guys and the league was shutting down a lot of OpTic's intentions to have certain partners associated with their team and all that in the game. This is a pretty wild development. So the old OpTic house 6050 is in the game. It's going to be in the game. So there's going to be an OpTic house zombies map. It's going to be available, like early access is going to be at Major 1. And this is an incredible partnership actually. As Crimsic says, I hadn't been told about this. My jaw hit the floor when I realized this actually was the house. So I'm sure this has even more special meaning for the guys that used to live there, because, you know, they'll actually reckon, I mean, obviously I recognize a lot of this from the vlogs, right, that back in the day. So yeah, wow, what a time. But I think just this kind of collaboration is a fantastic development for the COD scene in general, right? It means that we might get more things kind of like this. Does it mean that maybe Activision and Microsoft are more willing to open the doors to more partnerships for the league teams so we can do more cool stuff, have better stuff in the game? Because this is a huge development, I think, actually, in the history of competitive COD. The other development, probably less important but still relevant, is Meltdown and Fringe added to the game. So tomorrow, this is Meltdown from Black Ops 2. This map was introduced into the game. It's not been back since. Maybe it's been back in COD Mobile or something, but this was a legendary search and destroy map. Famously, it was the map where the World Championship was settled that year. Killer clutches the 1v1 against Proofy. Some of you guys will remember. But legendary search map. Very good search map, I think, as well. Very symmetrical. Lots of options on different bomb sites. I was a big fan of Meltdown. It's not like a wow, super fast-paced, chaotic, intense map, but I think it's a good map to have as an option in the pool. So Meltdown's coming in. This is the overview of it if you guys aren't aware. The A bomb site is inside of the cooling tower, and then the B bomb site is by the sea, effectively by the turbine. But yeah, very symmetrical layout. It's not going to be considered, I don't think, for the respawn modes. It's just a little bit funky for respawn given the elevation in the middle, but it does work well for search, and it was also a big snipers map back in the day, and that will certainly be the case this time. So hopefully the pros consider that for search and destroy. The other map, of course, is Fringe. So Fringe is back in, and Fringe was here last year as well in Black Ops 6, but it didn't really make any sense in Black Ops 6 because you needed some of the advanced movement to make this map work, especially because Granny's house is basically impossible to hold, or it's possible to break if you've got no advanced movement to jump into the windows and stuff. So this time in Black Ops 7, I think it makes a lot more sense. It's maybe a little bit of a shame they didn't release it with the actual launch of the game. I think it could have been good to see the pros playing on it already, but hopefully they'll at least consider it, because a map like Fringe, a map like, obviously I'm always going to say Stronghold, that could actually work with the advanced movement, I think. They would have to make a slight tweak to Stronghold with the outside wall run and all that. But certainly on Fringe, again, the track side doesn't really make sense with no wall bouncing or whatever, no advanced movement, because you're then just running down lanes that were designed for high wall running. Whereas in this game, it's probably going to make a lot more sense. And phenomenal layout, great for all the game modes back in the day. So, look, they're not going to change the map set until after Major 1, but hopefully Meltdown, Fringe, obviously Utopia recently added into the game, could be considerations. This is pretty hilarious. So yesterday, 100 Thieves CS team confirmed that Device, so if you guys followed any CS, you'll probably know who Device is, right? Absolutely legendary AWPer in the game. Now, he's still playing, he's back, and now he's going 100 Thieves. So, hope that does well. Don't follow Counter-Strike as much as I used to, but it still got me a little bit more interested in Counter-Strike, really, seeing Device on 100T. Now, Device says, let's go, but their COD team sucks, though. We got this from Scrappy in the replies, so I thought that was a pretty funny way to start. And look, is he wrong as it stands? They've obviously had a difficult start. They're 2-1, to their credit, right? Thieves are not, it's not an absolute disaster, but it's certainly not where they would like to be. So let's talk a little bit more about that in a second. The other update actually is coming out of Hisoka here. So Hisoka, of course, Warzone world champion a couple of years back. And, well, we know that, was it Shifty? He talked about trying to make the transition over. That never really happened. But clearly, Hisoka, and maybe the other guys as well, are excited about what's currently happening in challenges. He's trying to make the move. So, yeah, we'll see. Of course, part of the Falcons. Could there be something there with the Falcons Academies? Is that an option? Because, well, the Falcons Academies have been playing a fair bit in recent days, and both of those teams are going to be in the Elite, which actually starts tonight. So we've got Elite Qualifier. Well, Elite Qualifier happens. The first round of the Elite matches are tonight. There's also Elite games tomorrow as well. Then the CDL is back on Friday. So lots of COD coming up. This was a scrim. Next Threat Black. So that's the team of DiamondCon, like Doug's former team that he got dropped from, I think, for Standy. But DiamondCon, Standy, Johnny and Yeez, they played the Falcons and they lost 7-1. This is pretty impressive from the Falcons, right? So now I know they're a Challengers team, but still, Falcons may be making some strides here because, yeah, they would look pretty good in this scrim set. They put them in the 100-point club here on the Colossus as well. Of course, Cell, Pred, Kismet and Exnid. That's not changed. So it was a 7-1 in the end after the 5 hard points and the 3 overloads. They also played their own academy. So it's pretty interesting because I thought the Falcons were getting blacklisted from scrims for a week. That's what Shotzzy said for Cellium snaking against Boston back in December. And the scrims apparently started on the 3rd of January. So, Clayster basically said, oh, we'll just scrim our academy teams then. And they are doing that, but they're also scrimming other teams as well. I mean, maybe they are, I've not seen them scrim pro teams, so maybe they are blacklisted, and because they're only playing an amateur team here as well. But typically, the blacklist is meant to be upheld also by the amateur teams, because if the pros have blacklisted Falcons for a week from scrims to get revenge on Cellium snaking and all that, then the amateur teams are kind of expected to go along with it, because otherwise they kind of get in the bad books of the pros and then they might not pick them up, and it's kind of the idea anyway. So maybe that's happening, maybe it's not, who knows. But look, they played their academy. This was a 6-2. Falcons green, that's a Seams roster with Rupert Skywalker, Roxas and QK. So yeah, QK certainly a notable name as well. There were some theories as to whether QK could be a serious threat to get into the starting Falcons team. Couple of interesting results. Yeah, this one went to 8. It's pretty rare you see the overload games go all the way to 8, especially when the Den overload was a 5-1 to a Seams team, but then the Scar overload was 8-2 the other way. So it seems like Falcons are a little bit inconsistent, really, when it comes to their overload performances. Toronto, they played 5 Fears. They won this one 6-2. So this is Darkside and Dylan Rex and Eric Boom and those guys. So yeah, we'll see how these guys get on. Toronto have a big matchup on Sunday. They play Thieves. So Toronto versus Thieves is the final game of this upcoming weekend. That is going to be a big one for sure. But again, lots of amateur scrims getting noticed. We also then got to see a scrim between OpTic and the Bush guys. Now, remarkably, they played the hardpoints here and then they played the search and destroys. It's very rare that you'll ever see search scrims on stream. Now, search scrims do happen. They're actually not like, yeah, they do play search and destroy, obviously, but they don't tend to do that much. Like, most of the practice is the respawn modes, and then they'll put in some work in search, of course. But very rarely will you ever see it actually broadcast because, you know, the teams don't want to give away what they're doing and all that. Now, at the end of the day, if you're streaming search on stream, like, or if you're scrimming search on stream, you're probably not going to be like, all right, this is a strat we've been saving for Major 1 or for COD Champs, let's run it right now. You're going to be a bit more free-flowing, just get a bit of practice really working with your teammates and closing out 2v1s and stuff like that. Not really thinking too much about what you're going to be doing at the start of the rounds. But yeah, Dashy absolutely slams him here with the pistol. Some pretty funny reaction in that call as well. The other clip though to share, because the big roster drama of the last few days has mainly been around what's happening with the Los Angeles Thieves. Neum, we understand, is coming in off the Huntsman. unfortunately here, the trigger finger was not really going so well, and he gets gunned by Collect, who's Legend's new duo after all the Stallions drama in recent days. But effectively, the point is that Neo has a difficult gunfight here, and Octane's like, oh, well, don't worry, Ken. You're all good, at least for now, if this continues. But as we understand, if there's anyone to be replaced by Neum on Thieves as their sub, it is going to be Kenny, right? It's not going to be Scrappy. It's not going to be HyDra. It's not going to be aBeZy. So that puts Kenny under some serious pressure. And look, he's got to turn up. He's got to deliver right about now, because not many people are still believers in Kenny to turn this slump of form around. But if he, he'll need to do so right now, I think, because let's say his runway of having bad performances is, I think, quite rapidly coming to a close. So Formal says he feels bad for Kenny in his situation. Kenny probably does feel pretty bad that they've signed a sub just to put pressure on him. But look, it is what it is. It's a cutthroat business out there. Kenny's a world champion for a reason, multiple world champion for a reason. But these next couple of weeks and Major 1 is going to be critical to what Kenny's career looks like in the near future. So yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts on that. I'll share a couple of clips.
Sniping now. I don't know where he went. Oh.
Why the fire laughing, bro? You're a hoe. Bro, you're a hoe, bro.
Bro, I got to, bro. That's funny, bro.
Why are you laughing, bro?
Like,
oh, man,
oh my god, bro, how is it that? How did you just blast me like that, bro?
Oh, we're going to hell, bro.
We gotta slow it down, bro. We're going to
fuck your name is. I don't know, whatever your Paris fucking French shit is. There it is. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yo, Ken, you're good. Ken spot safe.
We found the new worst
Ken spot
player in the league.
safe.
We found the new worst pistol player in the league.
Ken spot safe. Don't worry. All good, boys. Ken's spot is safe and sound.
Ken's tweaking right now. I know Ken's tweaking.
Your organization.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like a lot of players, like we're not really even talking about how Kenny feels throughout all this, dude. That's kind of shit. Like I actually feel very bad for him. That sucks, dude. Not only have you just had pressure to perform now, as opposed to the amount of pressure you had last year playing under OpTic, and you're 0-18 and everyone's talking shit to you. Now you go to the Thieves, you get a blessed second chance, and now it's like the same thing. Like, so AIDS.
That team would improve,
no, like,
potentially be better than them.
I'm not Kenny's best friend by any means, but I can feel empathetic towards that regardless. That sucks.
It comes down to that, and it comes down to.
These were the overall map counts from that scrim, so it was 9-1 in the end, OpTic versus T-Bush. The hard points were pretty dominant, really. 251-23 here on the Scar. Shotzzy was 34-23. They won the Den as well, OpTic 252-20. Capstar was 37-25. Don maintains he's the best player out of challengers right now for sure, but Mercules had a good map on the other side. They then won the Colossus 251-23. Mercules had a great map here. Then this was the exposure. You can see Don's face on the right, because this is one of their best maps, I think, the guys on Bush. But they get absolutely body slammed here by OpTic. I mean, Shotzzy's 28-11. Shotzzy's had a pretty underwhelming start to the season. Don't know if that's fair to say, but I think he's sitting at about a 0.99 KD. The most underwhelming KD for OpTic is actually Huke. I think he's sitting at about a 0.85, which is somewhat surprising, but it's only early days, small sample size. But really, it's been their ARs who have been the talk of the town in Mercules and Dashy, and Shotzzy's had the occasional stinker, but at least in this scrim, certainly looked like he was turning it on a bit. But yeah, to put them in basically the 30-point club was pretty outrageous. They then played the Blackheart 100-point club them again. So yeah, definitely a spanking and a learning lesson for those guys. Then they played the Search and Destroy. OpTic won the Scar 6-5. They lost the Raid 6-1, but then they won the other map 6-2 on the Exposure, 6-4 on the Den, and then there was a final map as well here on the Colossus that they won 6-2. So anyway, they played 10 maps, 5 hard points, 5 searches. They won 9 of them. A solid day in the office for OpTic Texas. The final thing just to mention for you guys is this. I actually chuckled when I first saw this because I couldn't believe it was real, but no, it is real. After not far off a month off competitive Call of Duty over the Christmas New Year break. Challenger stealing all of the spotlight in recent weeks because of the massive entertainment, the excitement of some of these new rosters. We come back to day one with 2 matches to be played. I thought we were done with the 2 match days, but no. This year they are here to stay, and it's a banger of a day. Falcons G2, and then a Heretics Ravens. That is your Friday. So, look, there are actually some good games this weekend. OpTic FaZe, Toronto Thieves, but they're relatively few and far between. And I guess day one we have the Ravens change, which is exciting, I guess, but it's not exactly like a barnstormer day, is it? So very much just read your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.